clipper side. Okay? Okay, this is freehand clippers. I've got a number 2 guard on my senior clippers. First thing we do our guideline. So what I'm going to do now, turn on my clippers. I've got it closed, hair combing down. I start from the bottom and I work my way up. My imaginary line is roughly about that high, and that's where I start coming out to do my circle. So I come up to it, and I might use the guideline, and I do section by section. We go up to it, and then we come out. Start from the bottom again, I come up to it, overlap the section, and come out. Comb it all down to see how I'm going. And I just repeat this process right around the whole haircut. Combing the hair down at all times. So we'll blend it in, this section here. And this is the number 2 guard. Keep the client's head in position, makes it easier for you. So to me, the first guideline that we're doing now is, to me, it's the most important. So we just work our way around the haircut. We start from our right side and we work our way around. Combing down. So a lot of that blend-in work is already blended in for us. Make our job quicker and easier. Right. Keep combing it down. So we cut up just a section at a time. We work around the head. Keep working. Overlap the section, watch your work, comb it down, and keep going around to the other side at the right height, at the same height as the right hand side. Now that we've done number 2 guideline right around the whole head, I've got a 1.5 in my hands now, number 1.5 attachment. I open it at this stage, and I start from the bottom again, and I'll work my way out. This is good practice. If we start from the bottom, we work our way up. And we're blending the 1.5 into the 2 now. So we come out just underneath that 2 that we used. We don't go up to the 2, we don't go over the 2. We start from the bottom and we work our way up. I can close it and work on the bottom. This is giving you plenty of practice to do your blend-ins, to get used to your clippers, how they operate. So what usually happens when we go into the longer section up here, we open it up. Once we've done the blend-in on the higher section here into the number 2, then we can close it and we can blend the closed into the 1.5 opened. Always using a C motion coming out. Come to the guideline and come out. So each time you use a lower number, you're coming out always a little bit lower than when we're using the higher number. So we just repeat that section by section and always comb it down to see how we're going. Look at your work, and we'll continue that right around the whole haircut. Always start on one side. I always start on my right side and I finish on my left side. And just continue this technique. Open clipper, 1.5, blend it in into the 2. Once that's blended in, we can close it and blend the closed 1.5 into the opened 1.5. We just continue doing that. Once we've done the 1.5 around the whole head, now I've got the number 1. So again, same deal. Open it up. We start from the bottom and we work our way up just underneath the 1.5. I can't go into the 2 and I can't go into the 1.5. I just go under it. Always in a blending out motion. If you don't do that, you'll have lines. You'll be blending out lines all the time. Close it and we work on the bottom. So start from the bottom and work your way up. So each time you have an attachment in your hands, we have an imaginary line. We have our guideline. So we started off with the number 2 pretty high up, and then we're just slowly working just underneath there. And we just work our way around. Open to the top, open to this area here, we open this here. Once that's blended in into that length that we want, then I can close it and we blend in the bottom, make all the bottom a bit shorter, and we blend the number 1 closed into the number 1 open. I like to always have a comb in my hands or something in my hands. So either a brush. As the hair's getting shorter, I've got my little brush there. Gets rid of the fine hair so I can see what's going on. So you might want to add one of those into your little toolbox. Especially when you're doing bald fades, the little hairs get stuck to the skin. We want to make sure we can see our working area properly. Again, we just go section by section and we work around the head. Comb the hair down and work our way until we reach to the other side. Use your mirror to see how you're going. That one's not higher or lower than the other. So a lot of the time it's just section by section. We're just repeating what we did in the first section here. We're just repeating it around the whole haircut. For you beginners, this is a good way of learning to fade your haircuts, blending your haircuts. Getting used to your clippers, how they operate, how to hold them properly, what they do. So I've finished the one all around the haircut. Always keep your area nice and clean, so you work in a nice clean area. So now I've got a half attachment in my hands. I'm just going to do a bit of a shorter little section on the bottom here, just to soften it up. So again, open attachment to blend in to the number 1, and then I'll close it off just to make it a bit shorter right on the edges. And we just keep going around section by section. I'll get his ear out the way, I'll bend his ear out the way so I've got full access to that area. Always try and make your area so you can fully see what you're doing. use your mirrors. If you've got mirrors, use them at all times. I've got a front mirror, back mirror, and a side mirror. So take advantage of your mirrors if you've got them. If you've only got one mirror and you want to see the back section, you can always turn your client around and see what's going on, see what it looks like. So again, we're just working on a low section, so I'm working to about this line here, all around. As soon as I get to that line opened, I come out. I do that half a circle, that C. Right, once I've done that blend in to that number, then I just go on the bottom closed, my clipper closed on the bottom, and I finish it off. So it's always opened to that new guideline, and then close on the bottom. And we just go round again. A lot of the times with the haircuts out there at the moment, you'll be using your clippers a lot. So it's very important that we understand how our clippers work. And we need to know when to come out at the right time. So that's why we have these imaginary guidelines that you create for your haircut. And we just go around. Open higher to blend into the number one. Once we've blended in, then we close on the bottom section and we blend in to the open. So now that we've done the 0.5 on the sides, I just want to clean up all the edges. So what I like to do is, when I have my clippers in my hands, I like to do all my clipper work pretty much at the start, and then I do my scissor work. So I just want to create a little bit of a nice little curl here. So we just follow the natural hairline and we just smooth it off a bit. So when I bring my razor in to make that nice and smooth, it's all, I know where to go. When we're doing our little lines around the ears, don't be scared to move the ear around. And we just want to make that line again a touch softer. So I'm just really pretty much just flicking ever so lightly and ever so small that line area. But it's a flick. If you dig it in, you're going to create a line. When we do blend in, we don't dig in. We flick and go through the hair. I want to make a line, as in a line down the sides. Then I actually turn the clipper around, so I'm using the actual teeth. So I like to clean all the area of the bottom of this haircut, so it's all ready for razoring after. So what we've done so far is pretty repetitious. We've had a number 2, and we've blended into the existing hair. We've had a number 1.5. We blended into the number 2, a little bit lower. And then we've had a number 1, which we blend in a little bit lower to the 1.5. And then we've had a number 1, which we blend into the 1.5. And then we've had a half that we blend into the 1. It's all very repetitious. We have a starting point. We have a guideline. And then we just cross over our sections